Hello and welcome to another episode of Last Orders. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. It helps us out massively and we do really appreciate it. So, the market has had a little bit of a wobble. As you can see on the BTC weekly time frame, not a great looking weekly candle so far. We didn't quite make it up to my target of 31.7k, which is what I thought was the next logical place for price to go on the weekly time frame for BTC, that previous swing high from June of last year. But as I say, we are dropping. We were just below 28k earlier, just above for now. But yeah, on higher time frames, if we go to the monthly time frame, as I mentioned on Monday, we are threatening to close and reject this monthly level of 29.3k, which wouldn't be a good look. And even the shape of the monthly candle at the moment, not looking particularly nice. Got about just over another a week to go, about 9 days for this to resolve itself. But yeah, not looking too good. I think we may well be in for a correction to 25k. So let's see what happens with that. As I say, on the weekly, not looking much better. An engulfing candle looking to form. We're looking to close below last week's lows, which again, not a great look. And if we go to the daily, so I think we can get rid of this level at 29.8. That didn't seem to do anything for us. But if we take a look at this level of 28.5k, which we were talking about before, so this was the previous resistance of this consolidation area before we made that leg up. The fact that we've now come down, failed to hold its support and closed back inside is not a good look. So as you can see, like a big deviation, and that is normally a bearish sign when you deviate back into like a range high. It's obviously bullish when you deviate back inside a range low. So not a good sign. And as we said before as well, this is a pretty important level. If we go back to May of last year, this was the bottom of this consolidation area, and it was the level that broke, which led to the new lows down to 17k. So yeah, pretty pivotal level. As you can see, it was pretty strong resistance. The fact we've not held its support, not a good look. So we'll have to see what happens. The major level, though, because we're back inside this consolidation range, as I say, but the major level to watch is 26.8, which was the lows back here in March. If we lose that, then it's almost guaranteed to hit 25k, because as you can see, there is nothing in terms of support and resistance between those two levels. So yeah, interesting. Maybe we just hold here and chop around like we did in March and April, and that could be quite good for alts. You know, we've had a big flush across the market. Maybe this is just taking out some leverage, and we can see some sideways chop and give altcoins a chance to breathe. We'll just have to wait and see. But so far, not looking great from BTC on the monthly, weekly or daily. So we'll have to see what happens. ETH, as again, not looking too much better either. In terms of the monthly time frame, again, I thought ETH was going to push on to 2300 or 2200. Didn't quite make it. We got to about 2150 before we saw the rejection. So thing to watch out for here on the monthly. It doesn't look like we're going to deviate this 1721 monthly level. As I say, we've got about 9 days to go. Not looking too terrible, but anything is possible. It could happen. That would look very, very nasty. But I don't quite think that's going to happen. If we go to the weekly, the level we are in danger of deviating is this 2k level. So we said it didn't put up much of a resistance, and it's not looking like support either, which is surprising, because not only is 2k a big round psychological number, it's also this swing high here back from August 22. So very surprising that it's not really acting as much of a resistance or support. But I still think that a deviation here and a weekly close back below 2k is not a good sign, quite bearish. And it reminds me of the price action we had in this last bear market rally here back in, when was this, March? Yeah, March of last year. So this was looking really good. We'd broken the previous highs. We're making higher highs. It looked like we were going to continue on. However, we deviated, and then we had, I think that's 11, 12 weeks of downside. So I don't quite think it's going to do the same thing, but it's still quite bearish to deviate the previous highs like we have back here, these August highs. So could be a similar reaction. Could definitely see some more downside with this weekly candle closing below 2k. So yeah, in my opinion, not looking too good. In terms of the daily, we zoom in here. So we're currently on a little support here. If we just pop that level in, top of this swing high here back in April. As you can see, it was resistance before we broke through, even retested it at support before having a leg up. So important level there. And then again, similar to BTC, the next level down is 1850. It's the same as BTC's level of 26.8. Very important level. Lose that, and we're going to go further down to probably the weekly level of 1783. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at in terms of ETH and BTC. If we look at ETH BTC, so positive sign in terms of we've come back down and had a bullish retest of the 0.066, which is holding for now. However, as we mentioned on Monday, you can see we're still in a bit of a downtrend, still making lower highs. So we really need to see a decent bounce from here. So we've come down, retested 0.066. Now we need to see a positive reaction from it in the coming days. So we'll have to wait and see. As I say, if BTC and ETH can chop around sideways for a bit, that should give alts that chance to breathe and have a little rally. We'll have to wait and see. Bitcoin dominance looking good in terms of a rejection on the higher time frames. If we look at the monthly and the weekly, however, if we get down into the daily, you can see we're struggling. We need it to break this sort of 47% area, these lows that we had in March and April and just a few days ago as well. So this sort of 47% line is what we need to break, and then we could see a bit of a break in the altcoins. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see for that. Total 2, the last one. Unfortunately, we are looking like we're going to close back below that monthly level, which is a bit of a bad sign. But we do still have, as I say, about another week or so. But yeah, not looking great at the moment. We've got about another 9 days to try and turn this around. And see if we can get a monthly candle close above that important monthly resistance, which, as I've said before, we haven't had a monthly close above. I mean, we had a tiny close there, but not a convincing one. We've not had a proper close above it since May of last year. So plenty of things to keep an eye on. It's not all systems go just yet. We'll have to wait and see. In terms of a quick peek into the traditional markets, this is incredible that the S&P failing to close above this 4175 weekly level. We've not had a close above this since was that August of last year. Plenty of tests. Was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? The 7th test and 7th rejection. I thought that this was finally going to break. We were going to have a run up to the monthly range high, which was going to give crypto that last little push, that last little leg up. It was going to push the VIX down into some really low numbers, like some 15s or 14s, and then we were going to see the local top, but it hasn't quite played out. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens here. Obviously, if the S&P takes a trip to the downside, back down to this week level 3963, that will probably take crypto with it. So again, something else to keep an eye on. Now, in terms of alts to watch, these were the pairs I highlighted on Monday. See how they're getting on. So talked about ADA coming back down to retest this weekly range high as support, and it has done. And as you can see, this is a perfect place in terms of risk reward for a potential long, whether it's spot, leverage, whatever, because your invalidation is very close to your entry. Basically, an invalidation would just be a weekly close back within this range, because then that's a deviation and a pretty bearish look. So nice risk reward there in terms of a long, and as I say, if it does close back inside, you can then just flip your bias to short. Same with BNB, as you can see, just about trying to hang on to this previous resistance, now support. Again, your invalidation is right where your entry is. You can go long and then flip short on a weekly close back below, what's that, call it 330, a weekly close below 330, and you can switch your bias. And then finally, ZIL, very strange week for ZIL. So it come up into this resistance area, and as I say, could it do what BNB and ADA has done by breaking out of its weekly resistance? And so far, it looked like it was, then it wasn't, then it is again. So very confusing, as you can see by the wick. So if we break it down to the daily time frame, it looked as though it had a bit of a blow off top on, Wednesday, come up, big spike, and then drop straight back down again. And then Thursday, it continued to break down. But today, as you can see on the watch list, it's like double figures in the green when everything else is looking terrible. So I'm not quite sure what the narrative is there, why ZIL's pumping so hard, but yeah, definitely playing tricks and catching some traders out, I think. but we'll just have to wait for the weekly candle close. As I say, if it closes above, then you can look at long. If it closes within this weekly resistance, then potentially look for some profit taking or going for a short. So that's what I'm looking at. Keeping an eye on things and see what happens over the weekend and come back to it on Monday. So as I always say, try not to spend your weekend staring at the charts. Get out there, enjoy life. The charts will be there when you come back on Monday, and we will be here to go through everything to watch out for the rest of the week, and basically have a little review of what's happened and what to watch out for. So have a good weekend, and we'll see you Monday.